right. So, let's see. Last session we met all of our 6 party members, coming from all walks of life, and introduced them into the ever-growing city of Kalido. We started by meeting Askala Gladomain, the daughter of Amriel and Cedric Marsk, who was sent to visit her aunt Mariel within Upper Kalido, to participate in part of a committee which would ensure a smooth festival of remembrance would take place within the city in the upcoming week. We then met the twins, Calypso and Circe, Paradris, daughters of Rylan and Pandora, who were worshipping, well, one of them was worshipping within the Temple of Kaifon within Celebrant Plaza, when they had received a letter from Askala Gladomain to also help to participate with the Festival of Remembrance. We then met Frederick von Kowalski, who we had met last season, but has made his way back upon an urgent message sent to him from Belvedere, the individual who he was once the squire of, to help re-solidify the Flaming Fist within the Living Isles, as they've had a bit of slip in participation within the city, with the ever-growing Ebon Company kind of overshadowing them a bit. We then met Avalana's daughter, Vivian, who came to the Living Isles after Askala Gladomain requested that she joined to help learn a little bit about her distant family. We then last met Jest, the changeling who was selected by Prince Kalinor of Sitaram's Cross to be a representative for their people. Each of them boarded the subterranean lightning rail, taking them all the way across the city with ease, with the exception of Jest, who ran into an issue with a couple of rather large individuals, one of which had a real problem with changelings. A fight broke out within the lightning rail, leading to the death of the provoker. However, it also led to the garnering the attention of Ebon Company, the security force in the city. As the party went to face down the last man, a shout rang out as Askala was face to face with an assassin, which is where we ended our session last week. So, you guys should be here. Let's see. And I'm going to change the music, actually. Cool. There we go. Let's see. Circe. We last left off on your turn. Pulling everything up here. You turned around and headed towards the back after noticing an individual had jumped between the regular car and into the noble car, and kind of springing into action. However, Askala was actually able to defend herself as you watched her knock the arm away of the assassin and then quickly kind of shoulder check and knock him back into the wall. And then as soon as she did, quickly sprint forward, leaving from the back door and heading more towards the center of the train car. However, you did take some of your movement moving to the end of the car. You have roughly 10 feet still remaining. The train is stopped, making it easier to cross over so you won't have to do any kind of checks or anything to make your way over. How would you like to proceed?
Well, first, she's gonna try to look back, but seeing that there's just too much commotion going on, and she's soft-spoken enough as it is, so she's not going to be able to shout at anybody to follow, or what at least equates to a shout for her. So she's going to hop in and spend the rest of her movement and try to wave Askala over to her.
Okay.
And she's going to ready her action to throw a firebolt at if the assassin makes a reappearance.
All right. So you quickly move into the car. Are you leaving the door open? Are you closing it behind you?
So what happened to the assassin? He just vanished.
You get the sense that he used some sort of magic and probably just disappeared. More than likely an invisibility type spell to get out of the way.
I'm gonna leave the door open.
Alrighty.
My hope is he's just gonna realize that people are taking notice and try to leave.
Okay. So we'll move on in the turn order. Calypso, you are up. You are at the center of the train car. To your left, the second individual, the kind of big burly individual, has knelt down on his hands and knees, dropped his weapon to the ground, and has raised his hands up. His back's almost like to the doorway. As you look straight ahead, Vivian stands between you and the end of the car, and the two armed members of the guard, the Eben Company, are making their way across from the next train car over and entering into yours.
She'll point her axe towards the gentleman and say, "Don't you move. They'll be here to deal with you shortly." And she'll probably just hold an action. Or, no, not even hold an action. She's just going to kind of keep an eye on her sister in the other car and make sure this guy doesn't try and get away.
Okay.
You know, I'll have something ready if he... It doesn't seem like he's going to try and run away at this point, so I don't need to prepare an action, but if he tries to move, it's opportunity attack.
Right.
For sure. But
okay.
Otherwise, yeah, I'm standing down. I've got my weapon trained on him, but I'm not taking any hostile action like we apprehended.
Okay. If you are wanting to pay a little bit of attention to your sister, it will require a perception check. If you want, I can roll that for you.
Absolutely, I can't do it at the moment. I should be home in 10, though.
No worries. So rolling perception, you rolled a 12. You're able to glance back. It's a little obscured because the doorway, it's kind of blocking everything, with Freddy standing between you and the door as well. And you glance back and you see Circe has entered into the car in the front where you guys came from. You see Askala's turned, not facing towards you, but you can't really make out what's going on back there.
I now realize that my choice of actions was maybe going to paint me in a very bad light.
Okay, so it's clear something happened back there, but it looks like things are getting handled.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that'll be all I need then.
All right. Moving on in the turn order, Celeste, you are kind of in the middle of the car. Currently, you are facing in the direction of the knelt individual who's obviously standing down. You do see Vivian's kind of standing there, her hands out to the side, kind of motioning like, wait, let me talk to you for a second, as the two guards are entering into the car.
So I'm just going to sheath my short swords and just kind of hold them.
Okay. What are you waiting for? Anything specific? Did we lose him?
Hello?
Here you are.
Just kind of trying to see what the Ebon Company is going to do.
Okay. All right, cool. Then you will...
Sorry, the internet's so bad I'm having to do this from my phone, and the push-to-talk doesn't always...
No worries. No worries. Moving on in the turn order. Jess, last we left you, you had just sat back down in the seat like nothing was going on. What would you like to do next?
She's going to try to slip by Freddy to go out that door or behind us.
Okay. Are you trying to do so like quietly and sneak your way back there?
Yes, stealthily.
Okay. Give me a stealth check then. Okay. You're able to make it past, as far as with the Ebon Company making their way towards you. You're able to make it past without them seeing you. However, Calypso, who's kind of turned and kind of glancing back looking for Circe, and Freddy do notice you as you're kind of peeking out and making your way out into the pathway here.
Gotcha.
I mean, Circe did actually kind of tilt his head in that direction, so it's where she's going.
Okay. So as far as you're concerned, the two party members closest to you do notice you moving. The other two members of the party in that car, and then the two members of Ebon Company, do not notice you. So you're moving 15 feet to the end of the car. Again, the car is stopped, or the train itself is stopped. You are able to make it across without any kind of check or anything like that if you are wanting to do so.
Actually, I'm wondering, are there any, like these, kind of dugout spots, are they actually safe to go into?
Yes, but you would have a really, really hard time getting between the actual connections of electricity between each car if you're trying to escape that way. And there's nowhere to go underneath because the way the conductor stones are, they stand about like 2 inches or so off the ground, and then the actual rail cars themselves only set like 4 or 5 inches above that. Because it's kind of a compact space, they don't have a lot of movement or a lot of sway, so you won't be able to like hide underneath of anything if that's what you're trying to do.
What about on top? How much room is there between the I guess the arc of the roof and that of the ceiling of the ground?
You could probably climb up if you stay close to the ledge, like closest edge to you, like if you were on this side of it. If you stayed over there, you could probably climb up and kind of like position yourself up there, and like as long as you stay low, you might be okay. But other than that, there's really not a lot of give because there's equipment and things on top of the actual car that help to generate the electricity needed to keep it moving.
She's gonna do that. She's gonna climb on top.
Okay.
Right ahead.
It will be, let's see, it's 10 feet up from the floor, so you're looking at 20 feet of movement to get to the top because you're climbing. You'll be able to get...
If I see this, could I possibly use my reaction to try and, to have her stop? Ask her to just hang out?
Yeah.
I guess to do that.
Sure, I'll let you use your reaction to do that. So Freddy, kind of seeing you not as easily sneaking by him, kind of bumped into him as you're making your way out, sees you and then sees you're kind of glancing around and getting ready to kind of climb up on top of the car. And Freddy immediately is just like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. That's a bad idea.
It just says, you can stay with us and you'll be fine. I give you my word.
So the ball is in her court.
Yeah, she kind of looks at him, and although that she understands what he's implying, she doesn't trust him. She doesn't know them. Plus, they all look. I mean, generally they all look noble-ish, except for Circe, who's bundled in a blanket. But I mean, she's gonna look out for herself, and hiding is kind of what she does. So she just nods at him to kind of get him to not pay attention to her, like she's agreeing with him, even though she's definitely still looking for somewhere to hide.
Okay. Anything else? Are you going to continue and try to start up the ladder there?
Is there any, like, storage areas over here? Like, between the bottom of the, like, I guess the steps, where you can cross over? Like, usually there's, kind of like compartments around that area.
Not on this. Basically, these are just people movers. They're kind of like a subway would be. There's no actual storage anywhere on these. You're going to kind of load in, and everybody takes a seat, and you move across the city, and that's pretty much all you're going to get out of this.
Well, with that, I'm gonna say that's all she's gonna do.
Okay, so you're not climbing the ladder. You're just gonna
No, not
wait
yet.
for a sec.
Okay.
Okay.
Because it'll take it would be like, because she's moved 15 feet, so it wouldn't be a full
Right.
climb up. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
you
I'll
would
just
just get onto the ladder and
Yeah.
get about 5 feet or so.
Oh wait, that's it.
Okay. Turn moves to Vivian, who's frantically trying to wave down and stop the members of Ebon Company who are approaching.
So, my hands are out, kind of in a, kind of up, and I am saying, I don't know who these people are. I don't know they're the Ebon Company or any of that kind of stuff. I just know they're probably guards.
Yeah. You've seen them all over the city, just like randomly patrolling and things like that. You assume that they're probably city guard of some sort.
I'm gonna... Oh, thank God you're here, guards. There's been trouble on this cart, and we are in desperate need of your help. If you would give me a moment, I could explain everything that's happened. And I guess I'm going to wait for them to respond and let me explain everything.
Give me a persuasion check.
Can it be performance?
It absolutely cannot. All right. Ooh. So the front guard, hearing your plea, he immediately focuses in on you. He hears you kind of shouting that you're needing help, and doesn't seem at all out of place to him. He's yep, there was trouble here. We saw a bunch of commotion. We're on our way. Actually, before I do anything with them, is there anything else you would like to do?
Me?
Yes.
I'm just hoping. I just want to be the first one to explain the situation.
Okay.
So I'm hoping they will come to me for that. But I'm not going to move or do anything. I'm trying to stand in a non-threatening manner, and I'm hoping they're not racist.
Just trying to flag them down. Got it. So yeah, as you're kind of waving, you now have their attention. The two guards do step forward into the car, the one in the back closing the door behind him. You watch as he takes the one in the back, you watch as he takes his right gauntlet and he presses it against the door. And when he does, you hear a very loud, audible locking sound on all of the doors in this car that have been closed. The door by Jest is open currently. However, the one behind the thug, the one behind Celeste, and the door that he just came into are all now on lockdown. They are entertaining your discussion. You can go ahead and try to convince them what you're wanting to convince them of.
Oh my god. Okay. Hello. My name is Vivian, and there were two men that were antagonizing a woman, and so I decided to step in, and they reacted a bit aggressively to us. And I believe I may have reacted a bit aggressively back. And I am afraid things may have escalated. And,
Maybe.
Well, I believe that we're both at fault, me and the men. And if people need to be taken away, it should be me and that man. And I point at the thug that's still alive.
Okay.
And I don't mention the others. I'm just trying to pin the blame just on me and just on the thug.
Give me another persuasion check with advantage. Oh. All right.
Are they hella racist? Because that could make them believe me.
So, the two men who have entered into the car listen as you are basically pleading for the rest of the party here. Basically saying, it was all my fault, and this guy over here, just take us. They're listening, and they're not buying it. One second. One more. Ooh, he fails. The one behind him doesn't, like, he totally falls for it. He bought into the whole thing. Like, yep, totally just her. And then the one in the front's just kind of like elbows him. No, stupid. Don't you see that? And he kind of points to the center of the car, where directly at the feet of Calypso, kind of like pushed right behind her, is the dead body of the other thug that is laying on the ground. Immediately, he looks forward. The guard in the front kind of putting his hand like on your shoulder, and kind of pushes you back, trying to guide you back to the center of the car to make room so that he can go forward.
I know how this looks. But really, it was just me and these gentlemen. No one else was involved. These fine people were just trying to stop me in my wild rage.
Okay. The thug continues, stays on the ground, on his knees, does not move. Again, kind of keeping his hands up, trying to definitely just, he wants no part of what's about to transpire. He's done. Freddy, Jess has pushed by you. You use your reaction to kind of shout out to her and say, hey, no. Come back here. Stay in the car. She's listening, sort of. Hasn't climbed the ladder to try to hide. You do see Vivian has tried to convince the two guards at the front. You do watch as the one kind of pushes her back a little bit, pushing onto her shoulder, trying to move her out of the way. How would you like to proceed?
First, have I noticed what Circe is doing, and like the fact that they completely bailed out of the car and back to there's something going on, obviously, and then like in the first.
Well, give me a perception check.
Nope.
You saw Circe leave and only saw her. Well, you didn't see her. Yeah, you did, because she pushed by you. You saw her leave because Circe was kind of weaving between you and the other seats, trying to make her way out. As she left and went to the other car, you stopped paying any attention to that, and you were focused straight ahead on the thugs and the members of Ebb and Company that were coming into the car. As Jess walks by, again, your attention's drawn to the back of the car. You see Circe with her back to you. Askala with her back to you as she's kind of heading off in the other direction. You don't notice anything out of place about it, though.
Fair enough. In which case, I will continue trying to talk Jess down from. I feel like I can safely assume is trying to bail the situation, given the circumstances.
Okay. Are you trying to persuade her, or are you going to like try to grapple her and prevent her from going?
I was gonna try and persuade and just ask, like, just tell her, it's like, this is not a good idea. What you're about to do. Just stay with me, stay with my group, and you'll be just fine. I guarantee nothing will happen to you. I know you have no reason to believe any of us, as literally having just met, but I can give you my word that no harm will come to you, and I'll like just hold out my hand to like as an attempt to show like a sign of like friendship, or
Okay. Do you want to contest this, Jess?
Yes.
Okay.
And also, I also had another question, like out of character. Did the doors already shut, or is this like before that?
So the three doors behind you that are in the car, other than the one between you and Freddy, those doors have all shut and are locked down. These, because there are people you're kind of like hanging on to the side of the car. You haven't fully committed to going out. They won't close on somebody kind of being in the way of it.
Like elevator doors. Okay.
Kind of, yeah. A similar kind of concept.
What do I need to roll to contest it?
Freddy needs to give me a persuasion check, and just give me insight. Probably insight, right, guys?
All right. Yes.
Yeah, I would say insight or a wisdom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it would depend if she's trying to see if he's lying, or
if you're just trying to understand the situation. If you're just trying to understand what he's trying to do, then yeah, wisdom. If you think maybe there's not a lot of truth behind it, then perhaps, yeah, give me an insight check.
You could even say insight just to kind of dig deeper on his intentions.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna go with that.
Okay, so insight
like
and
her.
persuasion. Yep. Okay, just barely. Jess, you're able to read into it, and you can see he seems pretty legit about this. Or at least fairly certain that what you're doing is probably a bad idea, and you should probably stay in the car. You're still kind of fighting it a little bit. It's, not enough that it's talked you completely out of this idea, but it's certainly kind of stuck in your head that, yeah, maybe this isn't such a good idea. So we'll leave that to you, Jess, to decide what you'll do on your turn. Anything else you would like to do, Freddie?
I'll just stand by and wait for Jess to respond.
Okay. So hand out and extended, looking to help pull Jess back into the car. At the front of the car, however, let's see. Yeah. Frantically, Askala begins to run forward, reaching over to the center of the car. You watch as she reaches her hand out and presses this little square red kind of panel that's built into the side of this very beautiful paneling within the center of the car. The noble cars come equipped with a built-in defense system, though nobody really has a need to use them because nothing really ever happens on the SLR. Part of the mechanical insides of this car are uniquely designed with a contraption and a spell-warded artifact at its core. When activated, the car immediately begins a lockdown of its own. All of the windows and doors closed, barred shut, and bolts locking them into place in the form of immovable rods that pierce through the bottoms of each one of the doors and through the sides of each of the windows, preventing anyone from outside of Ebb & Company from entering the car. Within the car, something much different occurs. The mechanical core, a magical artifact developed by the houses of Kenneth and Veritas, create a twofold security lockdown, releasing a blindness and deafness spell upon the car, subduing anyone within it, and casts an anti-magic field over the entire car. Circe, I need you to give me a Constitution save, please.
I've been flashbanged.
Literally what this is. All right.
Oh my God. She's just going to be rolling around in a panic.
Oh my God. Everybody within the car immediately drops to their knees, blinded by just this bright light that just flashes across the entire car. All of your hearing gone. You lose a majority of your senses kind of as you're frantically trying to figure this out. In the process, however, this spell does reveal the assassin who is using his illusion magic to disappear through and go invisible in the car. Everybody, however, blinded. Nobody understands what the hell is going on. As soon as this happens in the back of this car, where Ebb & Company is, they immediately look up and see lockdown go on that car and shove past Vivian. I mean, literally, like, knock her off over into the side here and immediately begin to charge forward. making their way past. And again, same thing happening here, grabbing onto Calypso and kind of moving her out of the way, throwing her over into the side here, as both of these men continued their march forward, heading towards the back doors. Circe, what would you like to do?
I cry as a free action.
Roll to cry and see how hard.
I want to roll to cry, please.
I give myself permission to cry, so I can't see, hear,
Or speak.
Anything.
like I give this. I can't. So I don't even know that this guy is revealed.
Correct.
Wow. Okay.
Just lay there and think about your life choices.
I'm just gonna crawl pitifully on the ground, I guess. Because I
Okay.
saw where she was going, so I'm gonna try to make my way over there, I guess.
Okay.
I'll go half speed because I'm on the ground, and there's no way she's gonna stand up when she isn't in control of any of her faculties. So yeah, she just kind of crawls and
Alrighty.
weeps openly.
Why is this happening? All right. Calypso, you hear the ruckus of the car behind you getting locked down. You see the two members of Ebb and Company charging forward, the one kind of tossing you to the side as he runs past, immediately making his way towards the car. How would you like to react?
Well, since I know Circe's in there, my immediate reaction is to be immediately behind the two of them. I'm not getting in their way, but as soon as that door is open, if they don't stop me, she's going through.
Okay.
So, I'm not making any hostile actions towards them. It's, expressly,
Just
a
following.
sibling's concerned because their sibling is in that train car that just did a thing.
Okay. You can hold... I guess you
I'll
could
probably
hold your
even
movement.
emphasize as much like my sister's in there, sort of thing.
Right.
So
Okay.
they don't freak out when I come barreling in.
When you're
behind.
right behind them. Okay.
You were saying I could do something.
You can hold the rest of your movement if you want.
Yeah. I'll hold the movement to go in.
Okay. Celeste, you're watching all of this and kind of like you watch the guards run by, you watch Vivian and Calypso get tossed to the side. What are you doing?
I don't think we can hear you, sir.
Hammer down that push to talk arc. Nope, we can't hear you.
Nope. I'm guessing he's probably going to follow everybody else that's going to basically freight train into this car.
Probably a safe assessment. I snap the surrendered man's neck before anyone notices. That's his action.
Yep, that's what he does. That's it, right there. Everybody's paying attention to the back. I'm just going to kill him now.
The perfect opportunity.
The perfect chance.
Hello?
I can hear
Hello.
Okay, so I'm doing pretty much the same thing as Calypso, just getting in line and waiting because, I also have family.
you. Okay.
That's my aunt.
That's my
Yep.
aunt. All right.
And my cousin, kind of. I don't have time to get into it.
A very
Just
complicated familiar relation.
Just everything shut down. Panic ensues as the car in front of you shuts down. You have no idea what's going on inside the car. All of the windows and the doors barred closed. No anything. Behind you, back in the car, you see Freddy, his hand extended out, trying to keep you from going out of the car. And directly behind him, you see the two guards barreling their way through the car, coming towards you.
She's nearly gonna panic, but because the guards are coming in this direction, she's not gonna jump up. she's actually going to step off that platform right there, and to her right, so I guess she's on the ground,
Okay.
to let them through.
Okay.
And clearly not shake Freddy's hand.
All right. Vivian.
So I see that the cabin's all locked up and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna join the conga line and hold my movement to get in there and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. So based on what we currently have, we have the 2 guards that will charge forward. Calypso will go next. Celeste after. Vivian follows after that. Speaking of which, it is the turn of the guards, who, similar to what they had just done before with Calypso and Vivian, grab on to Freddy, pushing him out of the way, and immediately proceed to the back door. Once again, kind of similar to what you saw at the other side. The lead guard kind of reaches over with his right gauntlet, placing it like a closed fist against the side of the doorway. You watch as a square wooden panel kind of lights up a little bit. Immediately, everything unlocks on the door. The pins drop, the metal covers over the door itself slide out of the way, allowing them access into the room itself. Had anybody actually been able to see it, the immovable rods that were holding it in place, literally just as soon as the magic of the door goes away, they just kind of drop out of their position and back into the seal of the door. As they enter in, stepping into the car, they immediately kind of survey the scene, seeing Askala against the wall, her hand pressed against the panel and kind of bracing herself, seeing Circe in the center on her knees crawling towards her. The one guard immediately runs forward and almost goes into a tackle to keep her away. The other guard walking in, also surveying the room, turns to the right, sees the assassin, and does the same thing. Tackles and grapples onto him, holding him into place. Okay, so let's see what happened. Oh yeah, the guard ran into the car and went to go tackle Circe. Is Circe going to contest this?
We already did the whole laughing thing. So.
Yeah, you've done the laughing. So are you contesting?
Yeah, no,
not
at all. She just kind of just falls on her side, just kind of wiggles around, just do it.
Fine, whatever. Tackles her. The other guard quickly grappling and tackling the assassin to the north. That does lead us to Vivian's turn, though.
Oh, am I good? Am I good to start moving in since?
Oh yes. Actually, let's do that first. Take your reactions first. So Calypso, you can take your movement.
So yeah, I'd probably. I don't know if it's safe to hang back just a little bit or go the whole way, because he might just turn around and try and deck me too. But no, I'll come in and just be like, get off of her! Ah!
Yeah. All right. And Celeste moved in. Vivian, where are you? Oh, you're under the dead body. There you are.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Is it my turn now?
Yeah, you can take your reaction. So any movement that you were going to take. Okay. And then now it is your turn.
I have a lot of movement left. Okay, so I'm going to move the rest of the way to the cart, so... I'm gonna get right behind the guard because I'm crazy. Actually, can I'm gonna... Oh, this is probably a bad idea, but I'm gonna try to get close to my aunt, so...
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna do that.
Don't feel bad. I was hesitant too. It's like, how close do you want to get?
I'm keeping a seat away from us, and I'm just gonna be like, Ashkala, what happened? Are you okay? That's my turn.
Okay. The thug watches as the entire car empties out, pretty much.
Freddy's there.
Freddy's kind of there. He's obscured behind all of the people. But instead of going to leave, because he knows he's kind of forced here, he can't go anywhere out back behind him because the guards have it locked down. So he moves over, kind of grabbing the body of his dead friend and kind of drags him back over into the center of the car. From where Freddy stands, he can kind of see the guy kind of pulling him back. But that's pretty much all he's going to do on his turn. Freddy, you're up.
He's trying to escape. Freddy, kill him.
Well, first I'm going to make sure so the just didn't get trampled. I'm assuming Freddy very much has like no idea what's going on, not being familiar with any of this. Like the lockdown and the fact that he's went in there, other than something bad seems to be going on. Making sure that Just is okay, he's gonna actually turn his attention toward the thug. Just keep an eye on him too, so make sure he's not gonna do anything stupid.
Nothing stupid. All right. Yep. Yeah, you're able to keep an eye on him. He's not moving. He's staying right there with his dead friend. Just didn't come back into the car. She moved out of the way just to let the guards pass. Circe, you can give me another con check or con save. Nope.
This guard is probably like, this is the most pathetic takedown I've ever had in my life.
Where's the challenge? Yeah, you're still blind and still deaf and now grappled as well on top of being prone. So we'll go ahead and just put you like that too.
Yeah, she's there's nothing she can do, so
Okay.
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Just fireball the entire car. It's fine.
Everybody dies. Boom.
Let's do this one. Okay. Askala starts to come to. Kind of the blindness going away. Her hearing's a little off. Not able to really make out everything clearly yet. Looks back over. Does see Circe kind of wrapped up in almost like a bear hug by the member of Evan Company. Vivian kind of moving over onto the couches and trying to get a little closer to Askala. Everybody's funneling in, and Askala just immediately kind of raises her hands and is like kind of waving everybody off. Of course, she's shouting. She can't hear it. Circe can't hear it, and the assassin can't hear it, but everybody else, even like all the way in the opposite end of this other car, they can hear her shouting, trying to call everybody off. Calypso.
Calypso's going to approach this one who's grappling her sister while Askala is yelling, and she's just going to like do the do the thing of like the unhelpful person who's like in the cop show where they're like, they didn't do nothing. It's like that's all I can imagine, because it's like I can't like try and break the grapple because it's just gonna make things worse. But I think she's just gonna be like, leave her alone. She's with Lady Gladomain. We're with Lady Gladomain. Let her go. Can I try and persuade him to release her?
Okay, as long as you're not using Lady Gladomain. Because that would be
What?
bad.
That her?
Oh, that's
we
just...
are with her.
That's just... She's just a counselor. One of the high counselors.
Oh,
She's just
okay.
a member of the Gladomain family.
Oh, okay. Then, like, leave it alone. We're with her.
Yeah,
'Cause
okay.
She's over by the panic button.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's like she's with her. We're with her. Like, let her go.
Okay, yeah, give me...
Hey,
persuasion.
there it
Hey,
is.
that's a pretty good one. Yeah. You kind of walk in and, like, not really trying to, like, interrupt or break anything up, but you kind of, like, you're, like, tapping on him, like, hey, wait, that's my sister. Everything's fine. That's not... She's not anything to worry about. And the guard, like...
Look at her. She's not fighting back.
She's not even trying. No, the guard's like holding her into place and like keeping her kind of pinned in. And as you say that, he kind of looks back and initially kind of like pushes his shoulder back to like kind of knock your hand away as you're like trying to get his attention. And then he... At about the time that you're kind of reaching in, trying to get his attention, Askala's shouting, and he stops and kind of looks up, and he keeps a grip on to Circe, obviously not doing anything to try to hurt her, just to subdue her, and looks over at Askala and is like, okay, hold on, something else is going on here. The other guard that's holding the assassin, obviously the assassin's struggling and fighting and trying to get out of it, not wanting anything to do with this. But this guard, hearing you, very convincing, he kind of stops and settles down a little bit. He's still keeping a hold of her, but it seems a little more calm, civil, I guess.
Yeah, good.
So.
I just don't need him to try and suplex her. Or
yeah.
anything.
No body slams here today, please. Celeste, chaos in the train car.
Yeah, I don't think there's much she can do right now, so she's just going to get out of the way in case they decide to come barging back through.
Okay. All right. Freddy's still standing there trying to get you to come into the car. All the chaos in the other car kind of makes you wish you weren't stuck in between them.
Yeah, she's suddenly at an odd turn of events. She's gonna do exactly what Freddy says and go right into the car.
This was not what I envisioned, okay?
And she's going to notice that the thug is trying to escape with the other one, and she's going to approach them.
Not really escape.
Well, move him.
Yes.
It's tampering with a crime scene.
Okay. So you're going to move in.
Yep.
Moving up, you notice as you get up closer, this individual, which if you recall, whenever the fight first started, the one that's dead was the guy that provoked all of this. He walked up, He had the attitude, he's the one that drew the weapon. The other one immediately kind of turned and was like, no, this is a bad idea, and went back to his seat and was like, fuck this, I don't want any part of it. He's the guy that's still alive, seems very remorseful, very saddened that this other individual that he was with is now dead. No longer really in the mood to fight anybody. Once the initial bit of adrenaline kind of wore off from the fighting, he's just like, okay, I'm done. I can't do this. I'm done. And now he's just hovering over the lifeless body of the individual he is with.
Who are you with?
Give me. What do I want you to do? Give me an insight check. As you kind of look over this individual who's not really paying a lot of mind to you, to be honest, he's just focused here on his friend. You do look him over, and immediately you recognize the garb, the clothing that he is wearing. You know these two individuals, based on their clothes, to be half-elves from Brishore Square, which is under House Loristina. They have a bad, I guess, habit of disliking people that are from the races of Eberron. More specifically, they have had several confrontations with their ward neighbors in House Janarna, which is the changeling house, the ward that you come from. There's been a lot of confrontation between the half-elves there and the changelings, and the tensions are getting worse and worse and worse, to the point now where they are outwardly attacking, obviously, the other individuals, the changelings of the city.
Well, since she knows all that, she's gonna ask him, "Are you happy now?"
It kind of looks up at you. First time that he's actually looked up since all of this has occurred, and looks up, and his eyes are just filled with tears, and kind of clutching on to the friend that's kind of laying in front of him. And he just kind of shakes his head and says, "I didn't want any of this."
Well, you didn't have to come here at all. It was unwarranted. Had I ever done anything to you previously? No.
Kind of shakes his head and kind of sobbing, just, I'm sorry, this isn't what he wanted. This isn't what I wanted."
Are you trying to get him out of here?
He shakes his head.
Did you shake a yes or no?
No.
Why are you dragging him then?
Just sobbing at this point, kind of incoherent, just kind of clutching on to the individual holding him closer. Anything else?
She's going to take out a blanket from her bag and toss it over the dead gentleman.
Okay.
At least give him some peace.
All right.
And that's it.
All right. Vivian. Kind of chaos. Settling down barely with the help of Calypso, who kind of rushed in and was like, wait, stop. Askala again turning, shouting, also kind of getting their attention, and things, panic kind of subdued a little bit. What'd you like to do?
Is that assassin guy, he's still fighting?
Yeah, he's struggling against the guard over here to the north.
What is he, by the way?
He's... You'd have to get up closer. Currently, the way that he's struggling with him, it's hard to tell.
Well, I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm just going to point at him, and I'm going to say, "Hey, dude, calm down and knock it off or else. And I'm going to try to intimidate him into calming down.
Okay. Go ahead and give me an intimidation check.
I keep rolling so bad.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't care.
Well, I tried.
You
That's
tried.
my turn.
All right. Thug's not moving. Sees the blanket being draped on his dead friend. Remains where he is sitting or kneeling right now. Freddy.
Yo. So seeing this interaction between Just and the living thug, would I infer that he knew anything or had anything to do with whatever's going on in the other car?
No, there's no indication from what you can currently see that the two thugs had anything to do with the individual back here. And I say thugs, but that's really like just kind of a loose term. Just kind of, they're just guys that are
racist
being assholes. Yeah, basically.
Well, Freddy is just going to assume that whatever's going on in there is being handled, and just keep an eye on things in here and walk up to Jess and just. I think it's just best if everyone here just stays where they're at and remains calm. Let's not have any more issues today.
Okay. Top of the turn order. Askala steps forward, kind of reaching down, placing her hand onto like the arm and shoulder of the guard here, and kind of shakes her head and says, No, this one's fine. She's with me. That's the one you need to worry about. And as she kind of points over in that direction, you watch as the assassin's kind of forcing his way out, and the two have been kind of like fighting, trying to keep their position. The assassin ends up breaking the hold and starts moving forward, trying to head across, but obviously doesn't get too far, kind of fighting and struggling over everything here, and is unable to actually escape. About that time, the guard drops what he was doing with Circe, kind of releases her, and immediately turns, seeing the assassin running, and again steps up and kind of dive bomb, like tackles him into the wall. You see as the body of this assassin just kind of gets crunched between this guard and the side wall, and collapses into the chair here, and they're both like struggling to keep him down. The other guard moving over into place and also helping. They have him pretty well locked down. Circe, give me another con save. You're gonna get out of this. Yeah, you got out of it.
This isn't my life.
You are no longer grappled, you're no longer blinded, and you're no longer deafened. You're still prone. You look up, kind of from the flat of your back, over to the right. You see Askala kind of standing over you, motioning to everybody, trying to like direct traffic almost. Kind of look around. You see Calypso more towards the back door. Kind of chaos is still breaking out in the room.
Seeing all of this insanity and chaos, Circe takes her blanket, pulls it up over her head, and immediately balls up. She wants no part of this.
I am done.
Just kind of rolls off to the side.
Calypso, she's come to, panicking, kind of moves out of the way. What would you like to do?
Calypso is immediately on her sister, just like making sure she's okay. Probably helps her up into the chair. It's just like, are you all right? Did he hurt you? Do I need to kill him? Probably doesn't say that last one out loud. But she's, just completely doting over her. Like, are you hurt? Did he break anything? Are you all right? What were you doing in here alone? Well, all of that. And yeah, that's my turn.
Okay.
You get the expected silent response, and she kind of gestures to herself and is like, no injuries.
Good. Yeah, okay. She's just gonna be a wall between everything and her sister.
All right. Celeste still hanging out?
Yes. I mean, I don't know.
I'm going to move over and check on Circe as well.
Okay. All right. Just kind of hovering by the fallen individual. Freddy's kind of walked up behind, kind of trying to talk everybody down and get everything calm. It's about that time. Far into the train car, you hear the door unlocks and opens, and again, more guards start to fall into the room here, making their way forward, locking the door behind them as they enter. What would you like to do?
She's gonna kind of step. It would be the area above her, out of their way if they want to move through.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Vivian, you are in the front car. Everybody's kind of settling down a little bit, except for the assassin who's trying to run. Not getting very far, obviously.
Well, I'm not going to interfere with the assassin. Not really. I'm going to kind of hold an attack on him in case he breaks out of the guard's hold again, but I'm going to turn to my aunt and I'm going to be like, what happened? And then I'm going to hold a attack on the assassin if he breaks out of the hold again.
Okay.
And that's it.
All right. And yeah, as you turn to Askala, she kind of looks at you and kind of catching her breath a bit from like all the chaos, looks at you and explains what happened with the individual sneaking in as everybody left and went into the other car, and attempting to stab her as he walked into the chambers. She explains obviously how she got free, and then gives you a very brief, or starts a very brief summary of what the little button did, and then kind of ends that kind of talking segment here. Thugs stay where they're at. The two members of Ebb & Company walking up, immediately seeing what's going on here, trying to get a kind of grip on everything that happened. Look over the man who's obviously just kind of lost it at this point with his friend. And then the guards start asking questions. And at first, the thug isn't very cooperative. He's like not helping. He's not talking to them. Until he says, "Who is responsible?" At which point he looks straight up at you, Jest, and points. Freddy, it's your turn.
Well, at this point, if like Freddy's just been listening to this and sees that the thug indicates just as having been the one to attack or deal the killing blow to the guy, Freddy will step up And say though, both of these gentlemen and indicate the two thugs that were instigated a fight in this car, attempting to harass and attack this individual here who was only acting in self-defense.
Okay. And if there are no rounds of combat, we'll leave from initiative here. Nobody fighting?
I attack Celeste. Sick of her shit.
Done.
Throw a firebolt at Jess because she didn't follow me.
She didn't help anybody.
She didn't help me. Okay. You guys are officially...
Sure would have been nice if someone could explain the situation before I got tackled.
I cast Toll the Dead on the truck on the ground. Well, not really.
With that, we'll stop. We will take a 5-minute break, and we will continue our story. So 5 minutes, we'll come back, and we'll see where this goes. Good.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
All right. 5-minute break, guys. Don't go anywhere. When we return, we'll see where this leads our adventurers. So don't go anywhere.
I'm just going to assume to jail, though.
Straight to jail.
All right, I am back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Thanks. Got just a couple minutes on our actually 30 seconds left on the break, and then we'll get started again.
Don't send us to prison, please.
Now, hold on. It was your idea to go to prison in everybody's place.
That's fair.
That is fair.
It's just you. You're the only one who needs to go.
I said don't send us.
You said take me instead.
And that one
Yeah, I said send me. Don't send everybody. It was my fault. I'm the one that stuck my nose
yeah.
in the block.
How dare you be the changeling that got harassed on the train? It's your fault. Looks at Jest.
All right,
Just
so is everybody here?
to the dagger.
Hopefully we got everybody.
I'm here.
Rez?
I'm here.
Salty ear?
Yeah.
Okay. And Spoon, you're here, right?
Yep.
All right. We will get back into this then. So the two guards approached from the far car, making their way in, kind of hovering over this thug who was kind of laying almost over top of their fallen friend. After asking the thug about what transpired, he pointed out that Jess was responsible for killing his friend. Again, as this transpires and the guards see everything going on in front, they look up and they see the two guards that are kind of struggling with the assassin, kind of pinning him into the corner, like the corner of the seat itself and like the wall, making sure he doesn't go anywhere. You notice the one closest to you, Calypso, is kind of waving to get the attention of one of the other guards, who makes his way around, kind of just not really pushing or fighting to get his way through, but just kind of stepping kind of easily in between everybody, making his way through. The other guard, kind of seeing all of this going on, noticing nobody in the center of this car is actually fighting or anything, just kind of taking a deep breath here and steps in and kind of looks over everything that's going on, and looks between both the thug and Jest and Freddy, and says, well, unfortunately, we don't know what's going on here, so we are going to need to bring you in for some questioning. I'm sure that won't be a problem, right?
Freddy said, of course not. As part of the Flaming Fist, I will do whatever I can to cooperate with the Evan Company.
As will my sister and I as representatives of the Church of Kaifon.
Jess is gonna stick her thumb out and she's like, I'm with him.
Okay.
And points to Freddy.
Yep. So it doesn't take long. Once they get the assassin, they start shackling him immediately. Like they put the manacles around his wrist, kind of put him behind his back. He continues to struggle, so they put another set of manacles around his ankles and keep him from actually going anywhere. Putting it in a way that the chains between the two sets actually kind of cross, so he can't actually go anywhere. Like it's just holding him into place, almost like a hog tie kind of thing. And they kind of leave him on the sofa here, or on the couch, and one of the guards, once they get him all situated, makes his way up towards the front of the car, notifying the conductors of the SLR that they can continue on to the next stop, which would be going into Government Center. And as they're kind of pulling forward and the train begins to slowly take off, the two guards in the front, obviously, now having control of the situation, the one turns and looks to the party and over towards Askala, and again explains, based on the situation, they're going to take everybody in for questioning to sort all of this out.
I'm gonna look at Askala and I'm gonna be like, I'm so sorry to have done this to you.
And Askala kind of looks over at you and doesn't really, it doesn't seem too concerned about it. Looks over at the guard, and again, she just kind of reaches forward, placing her hand almost on his shoulder, like a calming kind of touch, and is like, no, we understand, it's part of your duty, but I can assure you that me and my friends here had nothing to do with what transpired. Something broke out in the previous train car and they went to go assist, and it just seemed to get out of hand. And the guard's like, yes, I'm sure everything will be fine. We just have to cover all of our bases. It's part of our code, you know that. And she kind of nods and yes, I understand. She's like, I really wish we didn't have to go through all of this. And the back and forth continues for a little while. They continue to talk, and she's trying to convince him that, maybe let you guys go. It's not that big of a deal. And the guard's like, I don't think so. We gotta talk.
Typical entitled noble spiel.
So, as I mentioned before, there are a bunch of pins here on the map. The pins indicate the pathways of the SLR. The red pins go from east to west. There's a card in your listings here under player handouts that say what each one of the stops are. They indicate the ward that it's setting in and the name of the station. And then if you need travel times, I can give you those as well. For this trip, most of you took the green line from Transit Center, which was up here, and then made your way south all the way to Government Center, which was over here. The issues started to arise as you were making your way out of Adveris Park, which was here, which was also where Celeste had jumped from the gold line train over to the green line. The pins, which I guess I should indicate that, the white pins that are on the map are where multiple color trains run through. So the white pin here is gold and green, where the white pin over here is gold and red. You can tell which stops they are based on where the line says. So again, if you pull up the little line stop thing, you can read where it says, for green line, the stops are from north to south, and the north being Transit Center, which is the green or the white dot here, and then move southward. I will give you guys an actual a screenshot of what I have for the transit line, so you can see the full breakdown of how everything's routed. Let's see. All right, so you make your way to Government Center. The train comes to a stop. All of the other passengers, save for a couple individuals who have offered to stop and give their retelling of what happened on the train, everybody else kind of boards off the train and goes into the station. The six of you, along with Askala, the assassin, and the thug, are pulled off of the train and escorted pretty quickly away and out into the station itself. You do notice a couple of the guards come by and pick up the dead body of the fallen thug and pull him out and take him off to the side, where you can only assume is probably like a station for like the actual ebb and company within the train station itself. The others take you out, and you start going up and above ground, and leave the train station into the city itself. From the top of the stairs, you kind of glance southwest of where you were at, and you look past all of the foliage of Government Center Parkway and onward to where Upper Toledo sits. The massive kind of sandstone walls, elevated several hundred feet higher than the rest of the city. It obscures almost all of your vision to anything from the vantage point you are at right now. The guard captain kind of moves you along, kind of pushing everybody along, keeping a few of the guards keeping very close eyes on very certain individuals. One guard, obviously, or a couple of guards escorting the assassin, who's still kind of manacled and kept from moving. One guard paying very close attention to Jest, and the other one to the other thug, and accompanying the entire party over towards a pretty large 3-story building. All of the windows are closed off. Everything's kind of locked into place. And on the outside, the only thing there is a singular hanging wooden sign that resembles the mark of Ebb and Company, which is this artistic rendering of like a growling bear kind of carved into this wooden sign. Not too different from the SLR, all of the doors are locked by these magical keys that are built into the gauntlets of the members of Ebb and Company. They walk forward and place their gauntleted hand against a square wooden panel, and you hear the audible click and the sliding of metal against metal as the steel door opens and allows passage in. As you begin to enter, you notice the inside of this building is very dimly lit, but you are greeted by a very tall, very large human male. Unlike the other members of Ebb and Company, this individual wears pretty basic attire, black and white colored robes. He has the Ebb and Company bear across the chest and the backside of his tunic that he is wearing. He kind of walks forward, stroking this like brilliant, like fire-like almost colored red beard that he has. And greets each of you with a smile. One of the guards that is carrying the assassin, kind of leading the way here, walks in and immediately speaks out to the individual and says, "One assassin against the city representative, 1 murderer, 6 for assault and excessive noise." And they stop. The individual looks over and sees Askala. Says, "Oh, High Counselor Askala, it's an honor, but why are you here?" And she kind of steps forward and says, "Sir Avalanche, is it?" And he kind of nods, and she's like, "There was a confrontation on the SLR. I tried to explain what happened aboard the rail car, but your guards are very persistent indeed, and obviously, due to the severity of the situation, they decided we should relocate here so that they could sort it all out. I understand their cause for concern, of course, but I can assure you that these young individuals were acting in self-defense. And almost without hesitation, the thug in the back kind of speaks up and is like, "This is an outrage. These children killed Markham, and yet they're claiming self-defense? I demand you get Representative Lauristina here immediately. I will not be pinned for these crimes on account of their relationship with the High Counselor."
Oh, but it's alright for you to, harass people and be racist. Oh yeah, we'll just excuse that bigotry.
Not only that, but our intervention only came when your friend raised a hand against an innocent passenger. If you wish to put your word against the Church of Kaifon, I'll happily call any priest, or more importantly my mother, to put in a zone of truth, and we can see whose word carries more weight.
As you start to speak with him, the thug immediately continues carrying on, shouting, and, "No, this isn't fair. Why am I being punished? I understand that Markham made mistakes." And as he's like shouting and raising his voice, the guard captain clears his throat and says, all right, everybody calm down. And he grabs onto this very large logbook and just kind of slams it onto the countertop. And immediately everybody just kind of silences and looks in his direction. As he does, he kind of points and says, "Guards, escort these 6 up and put them in the holding cells. You and you." And he points to Jest and to the assassin. He's like, "To the pits with them." And kind of glance over off to the side of the room. You notice 2 very large, like 25 by 25 foot cages that are built into the ground. Like the roof of the cage is ground level of the floor you stand on. The guards walk over and open the cages and kind of help Jest down if you are not
Can
going
I
to
interrupt?
contest.
Forge?
Can?
Forge?
Yeah.
Can I interrupt and be like, "Captain, why is Jess the one going down into the pit?"
Don't worry about Tea Leaf.
Tea Leaf.
Thanks for your help.
I still ask the question.
He looks at you and then looks over to the other guard who escorted them in and says, "We have on account that this one," and points over to the thug, "has accused your friend here of killing his friend."
Well, that's malarkey.
If I may step in, talking to the captain.
Okay.
This individual here is part of the council for the upcoming festivities, and if I'm not much mistaken, all the individuals of this council are under the jurisdiction of the Flaming Fist, which means that they're my responsibility, and I would prefer if they were to stay within my purview at all times, as a representative of the Flaming Fist here.
And he looks at you and says, "What council are you speaking of? There's no council yet. I've heard of no council. What festivities?"
We're the committee for the upcoming celebration of the holiday, of course.
Jess is gonna whip out her scroll thing of it and hold it up.
I'm sorry if maybe your company has not been informed, but myself and the rest of the Fist are the group that are in charge of the protection of these people, and therefore I will request that this individual stays with me at all times.
And he looks at you, very serious, very calm, and says, "Your friend killed somebody on our transport system. They go where I am asking them to go. Is that a problem?"
Captain, I interrupt him again. Because I'm being daring. I told you that's not true. She didn't kill anyone.
Vivian. I just shook my head.
Jess is just gonna climb in and like wave to her.
Calypso will chime in. They're holding her on the accusation of murder. They're not arresting her.
That is correct.
It's like there is a difference.
There is a difference. She is currently accused
I'm going to play
of
a
murder.
I'm going to play a phrase that's probably not commonly used here in the Living Isles, but she's innocent until proven guilty. But they have to hold her until such a time as they're able to ascertain that she had no wrongdoings.
Fair enough, but I wish to only make sure that I will have access to them if need be, and I guarantee that they will be fine.
He looks at you, and you watch as the guard that kind of is trailing behind everything closes the door behind you and again lifts his gauntlet up, and immediately the front door goes on lockdown. He's like, none of you are going anywhere, I can assure you. As for your safety, this is probably the safest place you can be in the city. Now, if there are no further questions, will you please escort them to their rooms, and motions for the guards who begin walking up and kind of leading you up this flight of stairs. As you're kind of heading up, you notice there are several rooms. It almost looks like this used to be like an inn of sorts. It has several bedrooms that have now been refurbished into holding cells. On the outside, these kind of double swinging gates that open up and lock behind them, again with this magical key that they're using to get in and out of each one of the rooms. And they take the rest of you upstairs. The two staying below, Jest and the assassin, locked away in their own individual cages by themselves, and a guard standing over top in case anything was to go wrong. You're moving to your new map. Now I need to move to the new map.
This is not how I expected this trip to go.
As this is transpiring, Askala kind of following behind, you notice everybody, they kind of push everybody to their own rooms. Freddie and Vivian up to the northern chamber. The door, or the gates, close behind the guard, pressing his gauntlet against it, locking it into place. And then Circe, Calypso, and Celeste into the other room. Same thing. The gate closes, place the hand up against it, it locks into place. The thug is put over into the other room to keep separate from the rest of you, not knowing the situation, puts him in there, closes the gate, locking it as well. And at about that time, Askala kind of walks up and walks between and looks between the two rooms. And she says, just have faith in the process. I'll see what I can do on my end. Just be honest with them. And remember, they are not to blame for this issue. Keep your resolve about you.
Okay.
Askala kind of looks. Nobody questions. She nods. Starts to walk back. Looks at the guard that is here. Kind of motions that she's ready. And the guard turns over towards this door, placing his hand on it. This door is a solid iron sheet door. Like, it's a big, heavy door. He places his hand on it, pushing the door open, and allows her to enter into the room, to which he stands off into the back. And then, let me find the right token, drop this in here. Come on.
And then another drow assassin shows up.
Drow assassin. And the guard captain joins her, walking into the room, closing it behind, and the door locking directly behind them. What would you guys like to do?
I'm going to turn to Freddie. And I'm going to be like, my mom told me some things about you. You worked for my uncle, right?
Yes, I served under Sir Belvedere since I was a child.
Is he gonna, was he coming to the committee thing at all? Did he say he was coming to the committee thing? Because the whole reason I even came here was to see him.
Well, I'm sure I give you my word you'll get the chance to see him at some point, but as far as the committee is, that was placed in my responsibility, so I'll assure you that I'll be able to arrange a meeting and you'll be able to see him at least some point in this very near future.
Okay.
Well, I'm curious. I've actually never... Well, put it bluntly, I did not know you existed. I didn't realize that Avalana had a daughter.
Oh, yeah. The Gladomains just barely found out themselves. Yeah, my mom just wanted to keep it a secret. And then after my dad died, she and my grandpa decided to tell the other family members. But she made everyone, so she made my grandpa and she made Belvedere not tell anyone that I was alive.
Indeed. Well, how is your mother doing?
She's good. She's become quite the popular performer on the Sword Coast. She travels around and she performs, and she makes quite a bit of coin that way. She actually wanted me to be a performer with her. She wasn't too happy that I wanted to not do that. But I don't really care for music or singing and stuff.
Oh, so here she's doing well, and then Freddie will, I guess, take a seat himself.
Across the hall, what are you guys up to?
Calypso's probably settled into this cot here, feet up, and is just kind of eavesdropping on the conversation across the way, like it's a bad sitcom or something. And she's just like, well, I suppose this situation could have gone worse.
At least nobody was executed on the spot.
At least nobody tried to kill a king. I heard the last time that happened, it didn't go over well.
I feel like that's like every night somehow.
Can we hear each other?
She finds a way to be like, and that bastard Sky Target every time.
Can we hear each other?
You can. These are like iron grate kind of doors that hinge doors that come closed in the front.
Okay, so I hear her say that. Someone tried to kill a king?
Oh, about 20 years ago, some idiot that worked with my parents.
Oh.
How much do you know about what happened here?
Oh, we grew up on the stories. Our father was quite proud of his accomplishments. Said something along the lines of, stab the crap out of a man who would become a god.
Yes. I know your father pretty well. He's a good man.
He stabbed a god?
Several times, allegedly.
That's
that question is more. Freddy's question is more directed at Avalana, or excuse me, Vivian. Sorry.
What
One
do you
per
mean?
game. Like, do you know why? Like the reason why you're requested here? Like, what is going on? Like, about the festival and
I
everything?
was requested here to get to know my family and the whole rituals and all that kind of stuff.
How much has your mom told you about what happened 25 years ago?
She said that she came here because there was a war going on and she enlisted, and that she just fought in a war, and things just kind of got crazy. And then after the war was over, she just moved back to the Sword Coast. And she kind of decided to not fight anymore.
Just kind of decided to not fight. Celeste, do you see anything?
Circe's listening, but she's mostly just kind of sitting on the ground and trying to stay bundled up.
Anything, Ark?
Sorry, yeah. Celeste is just kind of sitting on the bed listening.
Okay.
Who's this random in this room with us?
Yeah. This is Rando's story. What you in for, Rando?
Kind of looks at you. Shoplifting. You look at him, he's like wearing really dirty rags. Like, you could tell he has like nothing to his name and was probably just shoplifting to survive.
Well, you know what they say about the pretty ones when you get into prison, right? I own you now, unless you can beat up the baddest person in this cell, which is still me. And she cracks her knuckles.
He looks at you and is like, I don't want any trouble. And just kind of looks away.
Man, people are no fun today. She just goes back to laying down.
Man, people are no fun in prison.
Freddy's incredulous look shifts from Vivian to Calypso momentarily, then just back again.
I was told that adventures in prison were wacky and filled with nonsensical antics.
On the contrary, prisons are generally filled with lots of remorse, angst, and depression.
Well, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. And she looks over at the shoplifter.
After a few minutes of conversation, you hear the door opens as the individual starts to walk back out. The guard captain walks out into the center of the room, Askala following behind, kind of moving out of the way. He looks over to the north and motions for Vivian to come to the gate.
Oh no. Okay.
We heard you talking shit, girl.
Heard you talking shit. And escorts her over into their investigation room.
Oh, this is going to be great when it's Circe's turn.
And he walks in, the door closes, locking behind them. Askala walking forward, kind of looking, okay, is everybody all right? Okay, good. I'm going to go and speak to somebody and see if we can't get some help. This shouldn't be any trouble. Don't worry. Again, just be honest with them. And she looks. Everybody's kind of silent, just staring at her. And she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go then."
Well, that's normal for me. I don't
That's
know why
normal
nobody
for
else
you.
is talking.
I was just going to say, so long as I hope so long as Van understands that.
Circe actually speak up before she leaves. Take guards.
Take guards. And she continues on, kind of nodding as she leaves, making her way downstairs. Jess, you hear the footsteps coming down the stairs and making their way out to the front door. You hear one of the guards kind of shuffling his feet. The door unlocks to the front. Askala disappears as the kind of door opens up, and that bright light from the kind of morning sun shining into this pretty dim room as you look up from the bottom of this cage. It's pretty damn dark down there. However, I need everybody but Vivian to leave the chat.
What?
Oh, I know what this is.
You gotta separate everybody, see if the stories line up.
Time to get your story straight, Vivian.
We go to the waiting room.
Everyone watch the Twitch.
Everybody go to the waiting room.
I'll be in the wait. I assume you would prefer it if we do not watch the Twitch.
It's up to you. I'm not asking the same questions for everybody.
Ha! Awesome.
Okay. So Vivian, you walk in, you sit down at the table. At this table is a fresh cup of water, and the guard captain, Captain Treverian, sits directly across from you. Kind of looks down and grabs onto his cup and reaches for his notepad. And he places it on top of this table, and he starts to write and says, "State your name and your place of residence."
Vivian, the Sword Coast.
And he looks at you and says, "Do you have a more specific place of residence?"
Not really. My mother and I, we just travel from town to town.
He kind of nods, looks back at his piece of paper. "And where were you headed, Vivian?"
Where were we headed, Forge? I can't remember.
You were following Askala. She didn't say where you were headed.
That's what I thought. I'm not sure. I was just going with Askala. I think she was maybe taking me to meet the rest of my family. I don't know.
He looks up. "Your family, huh? You have family here in the city?"
Yeah, the Gladomains. They're like my aunts and uncles, if there's any men, I guess. And cousins, if there's any children of them.
He looks back down at his notepad, continues writing. "So you were with Askala. Anyone else?"
No, I was just with Askala.
He nods. "And you say you're responsible for this. Why is it your fault?"
Well, I was in the first car, the noble car, I guess, of that train, whatever it is, and I saw through the door windows just the girl getting a bit harassed by those men, and it struck a chord, because I have been harassed before back at the Sword Coast, so I thought I would go and intervene, and the men, even with my asking them to stop, didn't, and then the others joined me, and then things got out of hand, and I kind of started it, I feel like.
And he continues writing, doesn't look up. And you killed the man. How?
To be honest, I don't know who killed him. It could have been me. I was using magic. I just barely learned how to do magic, so I'm not sure how it works, but I can just do it. So I might have been the one to kill him.
I see. Very well. Any motions for the guard? The guard starts walking forward, reaching his gauntleted hand up, unlocking the door. The guard motioning for you to exit. He looks over to the guard and says, "I'd like to speak to Calypso next, please." And the guard nods and escorts you out. Will you jump down or jump up to the waiting room and let Calypso know that she is next in line, please?
Okie dokie.
This is fun. I like this. So Calypso, you are called upon by the guard captain. The guard standing at the door, unlocking the gate, allowing you passage out and into the investigation room.
And she'll kind of saunter past him for a moment. She'll just be like, "So, when they let us out, would you be off duty as well?" And she kind of like wiggles her eyebrows, but doesn't give him a chance to answer. She just keeps going.
Okay.
Just get him flustered. Keep him on his toes.
Yeah. The guard walks in, closing the door, placing the gauntlet on the door, locking it behind, and then making his way back to the other side of the chamber. As you walk in, the guard captain Treverian, is his first name, sitting here, already writing into a book, kind of scribbling some things down. As you sit down, he looks at you, points over to your left-hand side, a cup of water, should you wish to have it. He points to it and then goes back to his notes and says, "State your name, place of residence."
And she does take a moment to drink it and exhales, satisfied. Calypso Paradris. I reside... Where the hell do I reside? Something street, wherever the Paradris Manor is here. Because I don't think we live at the temple, right?
No, you do not live at the temple.
Okay.
But we will cover the detail on that later. Because I don't think we ever talked about that.
No, I don't think we did. So it's like something wherever the Paradris Manor is. Yeah, that's where we are.
Okay.
So, state the name, address. Was there anything else?
Shakes his head and looks back at his notes and continues writing and says, "And what were you doing sticking your neck out for the changeling?"
Well, I figure I should emphasize, and she reaches to a holy symbol that she keeps tucked under her armor and pulls it out, showing the purple star, and she says, "Being a paladin of Kaifon, it's my religious duty to look out for people, especially that whole paladin thing. When I see two assholes harassing an innocent person minding their own business on a train, it's sort of my duty to intervene, try and talk down the situation, and offer them a chance to walk away peacefully. when I see somebody escalate a situation to inflicting physical harm on somebody who didn't raise a hand against them, my duty is to protect the innocent. And that's what I did.
And by innocent, you're referring to the one that murdered the other one, yes?
Murder's a funny word for such a thing. She definitely killed him in self-defense, but he raised a hand against her first, and that's why we intervened. If he died because of his own stupidity, that's not her fault.
And he looks up at you and says, and which one is the one responsible for the death?
The changeling killed him. I tried to bring him in subdued, but it did end up being her killing him. Again, I don't think there was any malice involved. She was defending herself against them. We were defending her against them. We tried to talk them out of it, to go back to their seats, but they didn't want to listen to anybody. They didn't want to see reason. The living fool in the other cell got out lucky because he stopped as soon as he saw that the guards were coming. But he would have tried to continue what his friend had started.
You notice about halfway through talking to him, his eyes went from staring at you back down to his notes and started writing. He was listening, but you noticed his attention was elsewhere. Kind of looks up at you again and says, Miss Paradris, can you explain to me why you didn't have an escort accompanying you?
Do I look like the kind of person who needs an escort? I am the escort. And she flexes for a moment to show off that she's perfectly capable of taking care of herself. I'm the only protection my sister needs as well. She's the special one that Kaifon favors, after all. I may be a paladin, but she's the devoted one, the special one. I keep her safe, and I keep everyone around me safe. It's my, as I said, duty.
He nods. Very well. Can you bring in the next one, please? And he looks over to the guard, who starts walking towards the door. Reaches his gauntlet up, unlocking the door, motioning for you to follow him. As you do, he says, I want to speak to Circe, please. And he walks out, accompanying you to the gate, unlocking it so that you can enter. Can you switch rooms and let Circe know that it is now her turn? All right. Circe, the guard has walked over to the room, unlocked the door, and is escorting you to the investigation room.
Yeah, she'll follow.
Okay. You make your way over into the room. As you enter, the guard walking in behind, closing the door to, locking it, walking over to the back corner of the room. You notice the guard captain, Treverian, sitting here, still writing notes in his book from his conversation that he was having with Calypso. As you walk in, being very quiet, as you always are, you walk in and sit down, and he kind of glances up at you, doesn't say anything at first, and continues writing. Just writing. That's all he's doing. Not really even acknowledging you, really.
Yep, she just kind of pulls her blanket a little tighter around herself because she doesn't like the temperature in this place at all.
After a couple of moments, he looks up and says, "State your name, place of residence." And we'll skip the place of residence because Ren and I were discussing we haven't actually talked about that for you guys.
It's true. Yeah, she says Circe Paradrith.
And he looks down and says, "Am I to understand that you left the noble car and risked your own safety?"
She nods.
Why would you jump between cars that are moving?
Someone needed help.
He just kind of stares blankly at you, like almost like he's expecting more. I know he's not going to get more, but he kind of expects more.
Yep.
He's like disappointed that he's not getting more. And looks back at his notepad. And starts writing again and says, "Tell me what you did after the incident started."
Went to help. Man attacked my sister. I cast a spell on him. I tried to intimidate the both of them with more magic. Then I went back to the noble car.
And that was where we found you chasing after High Counselor Gladomain, is that correct?
There was a man in the car that was attacking her. I was chasing after her to protect her.
Chasing after her to protect her. Okay. The man that was in the car, who is he? An associate of yours?
I've never seen him before.
Then why was he in the car? Didn't you say you started in the car?
I didn't see him. He seems to have some ability to become invisible.
I see. Was he invisible when you first saw him?
She just stares at him.
He looks up. Good. The changeling. What is your association with her?
She was in trouble. I helped. Never met her before.
You always go around sticking your nose into other people's business.
As Siphon teaches us.
Isn't he an evil deity?
To some.
Continues writing again. It's silent for a couple minutes at this point. He kind of looks up. Who murdered that individual? A man's friend.
I did not witness the blow that felled him.
Very well. Guard, can you please escort her out of this cell? I would like to speak with this Frederick von Kowalski, please. And he places the book down, like the text down onto the table, and just kind of sits back in his chair and watches as the guard walks by. Unlocks the door, kind of motioning for you to exit, and kind of leads you out into the hallway. Opening the cell so that you can return. Will you please let Freddy know that he is next?
Will do.
Thank you. Freddy. The guard opens the gate, allowing you to pass, and allowing you to enter into the investigation room. As you walk in, you notice at the table to your left, a fresh glass of very cold water setting on the table. The man in front of you, grabbing onto a notebook that he flips back over, starts writing again, looks up at you, doesn't say anything, just looks, checking out your armor, noticing the symbols on it, just making a lot of notes. You walk in and sit down. He stops, sets the pen down on the table, sets the book down on the table, text down so you can't read anything off of it. Kind of leans back in his chair. So, the Flaming Fist, huh?
Indeed.
Shame what's happened to the Order.
Indeed it is.
Kind of looks at you and his head tilts a little bit. I don't recall you, though. I was stationed in Sentinel North for about 5 years with the Flaming Fist, and I don't remember ever seeing you there.
That's because I've only recently returned to the Living Isles.
Oh, did you? And what brings you back?
At the request of Sir Belvedere himself.
Oh, Sir Jehoshaphat. Very well. Looks down, picks up his notepad, looks at you, kind of like a glancing eye contact, and then goes to writing into his book and says, "What provoked your interaction in this incident?"
Well, as I said, I came to the Isles a few days ago at the request of Belvedere, of Sir Jehoshaphat. And as such,
He interrupts you and says, "I don't care about the coincidentals. I only care about the incident in the train car."
Fair enough. Well, I was with the rest of most of the group within the front car, along with Askala Gladomain. We, as part of the group traveling for this committee meeting, and we became aware of an escalating incident in the other car. When pretty much the rest of my group went over to investigate and intervene, I followed behind to attempting to quell any sort of tension and fighting as best as I could.
And he looks at you and says, "Did you strike anyone? Weapon or fist doesn't matter much to me."
I did not. I attempted to persuade the aggressors and the two other gentlemen to stand down, but to no avail.
Ever the honorable one. I see. He continues writing and says, "And once the incident started, what did you see? Or I'm sorry, once the incident ended, what did you see?"
I noticed there was potentially some commotion back in the front car happening. However, I was also... Some of my companions went back to see what was the matter. I attempted to try and maintain some sort of order in the car currently after the one individual had fallen.
He looks at you. "And am I to understand that the changeling tried to run?"
I'm unsure. I believe that they were simply scared and trying to protect themselves in such a situation.
I see. Who murdered the individual that is with our members at the Government Center Plaza?
I'm not entirely sure because I was not actually in the car in the entire time, but I believe the final blow was delivered by the drawer, apparent changeling in this case. But of course, before I saw they were acting in self-defense, the whole incident escalated when one of the other half elves, the two instigators, drew their weapon to attack them.
I see. Drew weapon, provoked murder. Okay. I think we're done here. He looks over to the other guard who kind of begins to saunter over to the door. He motions for you to follow him. He turns to the guard and says, can you please bring me Askala Gladomain, please? And at such time, the guard opens the door with his gauntlet, unlocking it, the door swinging open. He accompanies you out into the hall, bringing you back to the holding cell that you were in, and locking it behind you as you enter in. Can you please let Celeste know that her turn is next?
Yep.
Celeste, outside of the door, you see the guard has walked up, unlocked the gate, and is motioning for you to join him.
And I'll come out.
Okay. Escort you into the room to sit across from the guard captain. As you make your way in, the guard closes the door behind you, latching it again with the gauntlet, and then moving over and kind of standing over in the corner of the chamber. As you walk in, the individual that is sitting across from you, guard captain Treverin, sits here looking at his notebook. He's not writing in it, just looking. Kind of reading things, and he hears you walk in, and you kind of see him do that, like, kind of glance, like, you know how when people wear glasses, they, like, look over the lenses to look at something? It's kind of what he's doing here, only he's not wearing glasses. He just kind of glances up, like, okay, you're here. He continues reading and sets the notebook down, text down, onto the table, motions to your left, an ice-cold glass of water sitting there next to you, kind of looks up at you and says, well, I already know your name, and if I'm not mistaken, you're Amriel's child, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yes. Tell me, Celeste, why are you among the lesser rabble on the SLR? Why are you not accompanied by guards right now?
I was told to go down to the SLR, that I'd be meeting up with my mom.
Oh, so your mother had asked you to go down there. I'm sure she should have told you to bring guards with you. This close to the festival is obviously going to draw a bit of attention to members of the Gladomain, but we'll forgive her for that. And he sets the book down and starts writing again. Takes a moment, looks over his notes and says, tell me, you're the first one to react, weren't you?
The first one to react?
Yes, to this situation that they had in the train car. You were the first to cross over and enter into the car, is that correct?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, you were not. Do you know who that was?
Vivian was the one that walked over when she saw
Very well.
the
And this
interaction.
Vivian, the tiefling, is that correct?
Yes.
Kind of looks and says, yes, I have on note here that she says she's responsible, or maybe she's responsible. She can't remember. She's claiming responsibility for all of this. Is this true? Art?
I'm not sure. Things got hectic quickly.
Things got hectic. He's writing it down as you're saying it. Okay. And the changeling, she's the one responsible for killing the individual. Is that correct?
I didn't see. I was trying to stop the other one from attacking my.
I see. So, you didn't see who started the incident, and you didn't see who killed them. Am I not mistaken, they found you in the center of the car in the middle of all of this when they entered?
Yes, I was there.
Can you explain how, standing in the center of the car, you missed the death of an individual, and you obviously had to follow somebody in? Either you're lying to me, or you're just oblivious. Now, I'm going to ask you one more time, who was it that killed the individual on the train today?
It was the changeling.
Very well. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. He kind of clears his throat and looks at the book for a second and flips a couple of pages and thinks. And he flips a couple of more. And he places the book back down, text down, and says, I'm going to interview the man across the hall. If there's anything else that we should know at this point, before we interview him, I believe now would be a good time. Is there anything else you feel should be necessary for our investigation here?
He was claiming that his friend would be remorseful at what happened. That he is remorseful about what his friend did, but he didn't do anything to try to.
Yes. I could see he had some remorse until he lost his temper when he entered, but nonetheless, I guess that doesn't really matter now, does it? He kind of looks down at his book and flips it back over. Motions for the guard. The guard starts walking over towards the door and motions for you to join him as he escorts you out and back over towards your cell. And as you get up and start walking out, the individual, the guard captain, kind of reaches over, like waving his hand to get your attention, and says, Miss Gladomain, I'm going to ask that you consider being a little more careful when you travel the SLR in the future.
She'll nod and move on.
Okay. And I'm going to move everybody into the chat now.
and these guards are kind of like douchebags. Whoa.
And that's why I said that we should all jump on Forge and kill him. Oh. Somebody tell Salty to stop going back to the waiting room.
Oh no. There
Stop
she is.
going to the waiting room.
I don't know why it kept jumping back. I was like, oh, okay.
Stop it.
After each of you up here are brought into the cells, or into the investigation room, the questioning then moves to the thug. This man, showing signs of remorse, looks up in the direction of the southwestern room where Circe is kind of sitting over in front of the door. He looks up, just kind of glancing over the party, obviously a bit torn up about all of this, and is escorted into the chambers, where the guard locks the door behind and moves over into the corner of the room. About 20 minutes. Yep.
They noticed that me and Calypso are injured, right?
I mean,
Like, are our injuries obvious? Like, they can see that we were injured?
I mean, you didn't play it up, and nobody seemed to talk about it.
Damn it, I forgot. Like, don't we have cuts or something from their blades?
Just wait till the Church of Kaifon hears about how we were treated.
We're
Don't we
telling
have, like,
everybody it was your fault.
Or something?
About 20 minutes or so pass. The mechanical door opens again, and the man exits and is walked back to his holding cell where he was at. A couple minutes pass, and you hear the footsteps of Trevelyan step out with the guard in front of him. You see him motion to the guard to head downstairs. He begins to head downstairs, and after a couple of seconds, Jess, you hear the footsteps of the guard walking down, and you see like the top of his head as he walks by, but walks by your chamber and over to the cage where the assassin is. And he escorts the assassin, pulling him out because the assassin's not being cooperative. Escorts him into the investigation room, where they lock down the door. The guard this time standing at the door, keeping the door shut and kind of guarding it, his weapon drawn. You see him kind of unsheath it as he walks into the room. It doesn't last long. About 5 minutes pass and the door immediately reopens. As it does, you see a very angry guard captain, Trevelyan, steps out, kind of franticness as the guard escorts and kind of drags the assassin out. A lot of shouting, some of it incoherent, most of it the guard captain just being pissed at this assassin for one reason or another. It's hard to make out exactly what transpired. As the two are escorted, or the assassin is escorted back downstairs, and is put back, kind of thrown down into his cage at this point. You hear the kind of cursing of Trevelyan upstairs, just. And you watch as the guard walks over towards your gate, and kind of peers down. As he does, there's a knock on the door. The guard turns and looks and walks over to the door, unlocking it, opens it, and you hear whispering for a moment. A few minutes pass, and the guard shouts, asking the guard captain to join him downstairs. The two men head downstairs, or the guard captain joins him downstairs. And after a couple of seconds, you hear him kind of walk up and stands at the doorway. The door's kind of open, so you see this very blinding bright light once again entering the chamber from the outside. After a few moments, you hear footsteps approaching back towards your door again. As you glance back up, you notice this time it is Guard Captain Trevelyan standing over the cage, who kind of looks down and reaches down and unlocks the gate. Says, "All right, come on out of there. We have a few questions for you."
That time. She climbs out.
Okay.
I'm gonna say though, while all of the other interrogations and stuff transpired and when nobody was watching her, she ate her identification card.
Okay.
That is not going to be pleasant coming out.
That is
That's
not
gonna
going to
hurt
be pleasant.
so bad.
Wow, splinters and everything, because the identification cards are not made of metal, they are made of wood. So, yeah.
I thought it was a paper. That's how it was folded in her
It wasn't.
pocket.
No, it wasn't folded. It was a card. It's just a card. It's no
Yeah.
paper.
Like, do you...
Like an ID card.
Yeah, like an ID card, not like a birth
Oh,
certificate.
well, then she could just, take her dagger and just kind of whittle it some.
Her dagger in prison.
Yeah, dagger in prison. They didn't
Apparently.
take her weapon.
I mean, to be fair, wood would be a little more
Question
digestible than
is-
plastic or something.
No, I totally thought it was paper. That's why I said she had it folded in her pocket.
We've had our weapons this whole time. Jailbreak, boys. Let's go.
They didn't take them from you. They didn't.
Yeah, they didn't.
They absolutely did not.
I'm a sorcerer. I'm always armed.
So the
Chop
first,
your hands off.
so the first guard makes his way upstairs before Jess makes her way out of the cage. Comes into the room and examines the room, makes sure everything is prepared. A couple seconds later, Jess finally climbs her way out of the cage, and with the help of Trevelyan, you come to your feet and you stand and glance at the doorway. You see a very tall, high elven woman, her hair kind of pulled back, with segments of it braided and pulled back into a bun that rests against the back of her head. Her entire body is covered from the neck down in this shimmering, like silverish blue colored body armor, which almost like stretches to fit her body, almost like a stretchable, like metallic cloth of sorts. At the shoulders, a very thin pair of ornate pauldrons rest and kind of grip around her neck, making a very high collar that comes up just below her ears. At her waist, a very decorative folds, which hang from her waist down almost to her ankles, and is wrapped at the top by a golden sash around her midsection. She watches as they escort Jest towards the stairway and up towards the investigation chamber. Doesn't say anything. As you begin to reach the chamber, Trevelyan, Guard Captain Trevelyan kind of motions for you to enter, making it so that you can go and sit down and have a seat at the table with him to have a conversation.
Just does.
Okay. Can you move your token? I just want to make sure that's set right. No?
Oh gosh, okay. There we go. Now I can.
Oh, okay. All right. And he walks in as well. and you make your way into the room. You sit down at this table. There are 2 cups. To your left is presumably your cup, a very cold, almost ice cold glass of water sitting at the table. The individual walks in, sitting down, the guard walking to the door, closing it and locking it with his gauntlet, stands as well at the doorway, his weapon drawn. As he sits down, as Trevelyan sits down, he pulls out his notepad again, opening it up, flipping through some of the pages, and kind of looks up at you, making a couple of notes, and says, "Okay. State your name, your place of residence, please."
Yes, and I have no place of residence.
No place of residence. You're homeless, then?
Yes.
Okay. Jess, what were you doing on the SLR today?
I was traveling.
Yes, where were you traveling to?
Some council meeting that I guess no one's ever heard of.
Some council meeting, as he's writing it down. I see. Is this the one that Sir Frederick was mentioning when you came in?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me what happened on the train car today.
Well, I was minding my own business, prepared to, see the end of the line, and these 2 thugs came up, and they were harassing me, despite pleading that I'm, not bothering them whatsoever. And there was one woman with horns. She came over and asked them to stop, which they did not. And then there was a few other people that also followed her and also did the same thing. They asked them to stop, and they didn't. And the first thug, slightly bigger one, the weird eye, he brought out a weapon, and I thought that he was going to kill someone. Myself.
The weird eye. Was he looking at you or the person next to you?
He was looking at me.
Are you sure? He did have a weird eye, after all.
Well, it might have been, he could have been a sty. I mean, you never know. People don't really wash their hands a whole lot.
I see. Yes, so he drew his weapon and...
He drew his weapon, and this was after multiple times of people, trying to get him back down, because obviously it's a closed-in space, and being a big bulky dude with a weapon, I mean, it could hit anyone, but...
Did he hit you?
I remember he manhandled me, yes.
Manhandled you, as in placed his arms on you?
Yes.
That's not what I'm being told here. Okay.
Well, he seemed to think I was somebody I'm not, and after telling him multiple times that I'm not, and I don't really,
According to our notes, he said that he knew you were a changeling. You're not a changeling?
Nope. I'm clearly a drow. I mean, he could be very just racist against... I mean, he could have been. He's dead now, so past tense. But, I mean, he didn't seem to like the woman with horns either, so I just think he was just racist. He didn't like people...
Did he raise a weapon at the woman with horns?
I do remember that he did raise it up. He could have, like I said, he could have hit it anyone. We were all close range.
I see. You say that he raised his weapon and looked like he was going to hit you. Our reports...
Yes, and I moved.
You moved, okay.
Yes.
So you avoided the confrontation. How did you end up killing him?
Well, I was afraid for the... See, I don't really particularly care for bullies, and I don't really like to get into, other people's trouble, but I kind of felt bad that these people, tried to stop this from happening, and I didn't want their deaths to be on my hands, so I flung a dagger at him and I killed him.
And you said you were afraid of him, but then
Yes.
you killed him. So you're claiming self-defense.
Yes.
Okay. The individual across the hall here says that his friend reached down and grabbed into your pocket and found your identity card. Can I see your identity card, please?
Well, I'm afraid I don't have one.
Don't have an identity card. All right,
It's
so
why I'm home. I travel around a lot, so, and, I've been in some of the other jails, so it's not anything abnormal, but, sorry, don't have.
So can I see this scroll that says you were supposed to go to Upper Toledo, please?
Yes, she hands him the scroll.
And he unrolls the scroll and sees at the top of it that it says Prince Kalanor on it. And he looks up at you, rolls the scroll back and places it in front of you. Doesn't say anything. Starts writing in his book again. A couple minutes pass of him constantly writing. He takes the book and places it face down. After a couple minutes, he stops everything. He doesn't talk, he just stares at you for a second. And he waits.
Are you taking a picture?
Taking a picture? What do you mean? What is this picture you speak of?
I don't know, it's been like this thing of, like, people taking pictures. Like, there's a bright flash. Randomly.
Bright flash. Where would you have seen this at?
At the location that I got the scroll from?
Yes, from Prince Kalanor, the Prince of the Changelings.
Yes, that's who it is. I don't recall.
Yes. After a couple minutes, as this interview is going on, there is a knock on the steel door, which immediately gathers or garners the attention of the guard standing at the door. Trevelyan looks over his shoulder and nods, and the guard turns and reaches up and with one finger kind of sliding this rectangular viewing port on the door, slides it open and looks out. He looks back over at the guard captain and kind of nods, and the guard captain waves and motions for him to open the door. Across the hall, Freddie and Vivian and Celeste, from where you stand, each of you now see the same exact high elvish woman that Jess saw downstairs. Freddie and Celeste, this individual is very, very familiar to you, as Askala Gladomain stands in the hallway, waiting for the door to be open. She waits, and as the door opens, the guard steps out of the way, off into the back. The guard captain moving so that Mariel can walk in, and she walks in and takes a seat. And as she does, she motions, and both the guard captain and the guard itself walk out, and they pull the door closed and latch it. And that's where we'll end our session tonight.
Maybe this is good.
Yeah, she totally didn't dig herself deeper at all. It's fine.
All I was thinking was, okay, I mean, you can eat the ID card, but you still have a scroll. And you mentioned the scroll. That was the worst part. You gave yourself up on that. I was like,
yeah, but I don't
No
think
one
it actually
ever
has
said
like.
Jess was smart.
I don't think it actually has her name on it. It just says you're chosen. Like.
Yeah, but the only one who would have been chosen was a changeling.
Yeah,
They don't really know.
he called you on that writer though. He was like, "Oh, the Prince of the Changelings."
I mean, he could have like had a drow come in. It doesn't say like who his little ambassador person has to be a changeling. Maybe she's.
So the thing about like lawful entities and bodies of order is they don't go on assumptions.
No.
They go on what's presented in front of them. And
What's right here, and guess
it-
what's right in front
if
of
it looks
him.
like a duck, talks
You know
like
what?
a duck.
Well, she doesn't look like a changeling. She looks like a drow. So.
She looks like a changeling that changed into something
Into a
else
drow.
to hide it.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna end the stream and then I'll be right back.
Okay.
Alrighty.
All right, so that's gonna do it for tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate having each of you along for this very fun RP session. Don't forget, Fate's Game Night is tomorrow, 10:30 p.m. if you want to catch some video games with Fate. If not, D&D all day Friday, starting with D&D replay at 9 a.m. and then Stealing Dragons, our Waterdeep Dragon Heist game at 9 p.m. Hopefully I'll see you sometime soon. It's been a lot of fun. Glad you guys could be here, and I will see you on Friday. Have a good night, guys.